Okay, so I'm going to buy two stocks. One is India Bull Housing Finance. So I will press the buy button. I'm going to buy 1321 quantity, which is approximately 3 lakhs. So bought, order complete. Then I'm going to buy Relaxo. So why am I buying Relaxo? So this answer you will get to know tomorrow. So please watch tomorrow's video. Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So today I have a very interesting video for you because I'm going to show you how I analyze stocks. So I will present some snippets. How exactly do I analyze stocks? This will help you conduct your own analysis at the time of buying and selling stocks. I will keep it very interesting, right? I will not only just take you through financials, but some of the key points that you should add on in terms of your peripheral research. So please stay tuned till the very end. I will show you 3 specific examples. I will also tell you that out of these 3 stocks, which of the stocks I am going to buy immediately and which of the stocks I am going to hold and wait for a few days before I make the purchase. Now there are a few quick disclaimers that I want to give so that it can set the tone for the entire video. One is that this is not an investment advice. So please do your due diligence. I am genuinely showing you what I actually do. And I am going to show you live investment also. Number 2, as a retail investor, you must seriously understand the concept of sector rotation. So let me just show you a couple of examples and that will clarify what sector rotation actually means and how it creates an impact on your portfolio. Now let me take you to Tickertape, and here you can see something called as Nifty Bank Index, right? So this is the collection of banking stocks and this is the Nifty for it. And if you take a look at 1 year, essentially it went up, then it went down, and now it's trading literally flat, right? So that is how Nifty Bank has operated for the last 1 year. Now this entire period, right from April up until now, Nifty Bank has not given any returns. But if you take a look at this chart, that Nifty 50 stocks have on an average risen and Nifty is hitting all-time high. So despite the entire Nifty moving up, Nifty Bank has not moved at all, right? So that's part 1 of the example. So now let us take a look at Nifty IT Index. Now this is a collection of IT companies and you will see that for the last 1 year, in the same time period, Nifty IT has been literally going up in a straight line fashion. So the point that I want to drive home is very simple, that if you piece all these 3 pieces of data together, number 1, Nifty 50 stocks on an average have gone up, right? So that is the first key point. Second point, if you take a look at Bank Nifty, then it has somewhat traded sideways, right? So it has hardly given any return. And if you take a look at Nifty IT, it has literally gone up, right? Now from this discussion, the important thing that you should take away as a retail investor is fairly simple, that you do not know in which sector, right? So we started out with the bank sector and we looked at the IT sector. Now if we take a look at pharma sector, now the important point for you as a retail investor is that this type of sector rotation always happens. For example, the money will flow from Bank Nifty to Nifty IT. Then it will flow from Nifty IT to pharma. Now this type of churn is called as rotation. Now this concept becomes really important if you're looking to make money in the stock market in the short term, especially on your swing trades. Now this brings me to the second related point, that if you are looking to invest in the stock market, your goal of investing needs to be absolutely clear. You must understand that, hey, am I looking to make money in the short term or am I investing for the long term? Because if you're looking to make money in the short term, there is no guarantee. We can't predict, right? I can't predict, no YouTuber in the world can predict, even Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala can't predict whether the sector rotation would happen from IT to pharma or pharma to IT or pharma to bank, whichever sector. It's almost impossible for anyone to guess where this sector rotation will happen. So this is the reason why many of you start panicking, because if the sector rotation is happening, you will start panicking. Probably I bought a wrong stock. So please analyze the performance of the entire sector and identify whether sector rotation is happening or not. So with this information in place, let's move on to the specific video for today. I'm going to talk about 3 specific stocks that I am keeping a very close eye on. I'm investing my money on one of these stocks. I will talk about that subsequently in the video, and they somewhat follow the concept of this sector rotation as well. Now the first stock that I'm going to talk about today is called as Newgen Software Technologies. It's an IT solution provider. It is a small cap company, so of course it has a lot of potential for growth and it has shown a lot of prominence. It is one of the most talked about technology stocks in the Indian ecosystem right now. Let me quickly take you through fundamentals and financials of this stock. Then I will delve deeper into what are some of the other key parameters that I'm researching about. So if you take a look at the financials, The financial seems to be fine. The total revenue has been going up, net income has been going up. If we take a look at quarterly results, the quarterly results seem to be good. There is nothing, right? There is nothing majorly off. The operating profit margin for tech companies is usually very high. Operating profit margin also seems to be completely okay. But if you take a look at the recent performance of the stock, you will start noticing a few things. First and foremost, you would notice that, hey, just like a month back, it was trading at 750, right? It was trading at 750 levels. Now it has reached like 566 approximately levels. So there has been a massive drop. Now, why this drop has happened, I'll speak about it in a minute. That is where the opportunity also lies in this stock. But you need to understand that despite the financials being decent, nothing majorly off there, the stock price has tanked quite a lot. Now, the reason for this decline has been that Newgen has been put on the ASM list. ASM list means that NSE or BSE put certain stocks where there is a lot of volatility, there is a lot of price change, there might be certain type of rigging happening. So they put certain stocks on a watch list. This is called as additional surveillance measure. Now this stock was put on ASM, and the moment it was put on ASM, resultantly the prices crashed for this stock. Now, can stocks be taken away from these ASM measures? Yes, right? So there is frequent review that happens, and ASM stocks, so stocks that have been put on the ASM, they can be withdrawn from it also. So my bet is that the moment this ASM change happens, that the stock is withdrawn from the ASM list, the stock prices will come back up, and that is where you might make money in the short term. Now this is like one half of the equation, and now you might be very tempted that, hey Akshat, now the finance looks strong, the stock prices crashed because the stock was put on ASM list. The moment it gets out of this ASM list, I'm going to make money. Now I'm not investing in this stock, and I'll explain you the reason why am I not doing it, and there are two very specific reasons for it. One, if you take a look at the promoter holding, the promoter holding has come down recently, and more importantly, Mr. Diwakar Nigam, who is the CEO of this company, he has cut down his holding, right? For whatever reasons, I don't know, right? As a retail investor, I would not know about the management, what the quality of the management is. I can only read newspaper, consume information, and try to make my opinions out of it. So if the promoter is cutting down his holding for whatever reason, especially in a new company, I will feel a little bit jittery, right? I'm not saying that I will never buy this stock, but for the time being, I'll just sit and observe and try to figure out the real reasons why Mr. Diwakar Nigam has cut down his holding. Now, these are exactly the type of stocks you need to be careful about, because what happens is that, see, this is a small cap stock. It is very easy to move the prices of small cap stocks. So there is a FOMO that can be created among the investors. This is a good stock, so much good stuff is happening here. The moment it goes out of the ASM list, the prices might skyrocket. All those things might be true, but I can't make an assessment of that. I, as a retail investor, especially on small cap stocks, I should be very wary about the management quality issues, because the number one reason, literally number one reason why companies in the stock markets fail is because of poor quality management issues. So this point becomes a point of contention for me. Now there is other additional point that I would like to highlight here, and for that let me go to Glassdoor and type Newgen, right? And let me tell you the reviews of Glassdoor, right? Now, if you know about the software space, and this is where I would ask all of you for help, that if you're working in the software space, do tell me if I'm correct about this. So you would see that the Glassdoor rating of Newgen software is approximately 3.3. Now, this is not a very reliable measure, but it simply tells me that, you know what, from an employment point of view, in a new IT-based company, if the employment ratings are low, it shows me that the churn rate or the employees leaving the company might be high, right? I'm not saying that 100% of the times this will be correct, but this is a good measure. Now, you would say that, Akshat, you know what, IT companies anyways have like massive churn rate. So let us compare it with something of a big company. Let's compare it with Infosys. Now here you will see that this has a rating of 3.9, right? So of course a huge difference between Newgen and Infosys in terms of employee retainability. Now I have a lot of friends in the IT space, especially who have worked with companies like Mu Sigma, and they tell me that in the IT space, companies actually fight a lot to get good talent and retain them. They actually make them sign like multi-year contracts. That is how their salary structure gets fixed. That is how their bonuses kick in, and bunch of different things. So IT companies give a lot of incentives for their employees to stick with them. Now this is not happening for a new company like Newgen, and this is a major red flag for me. So two reasons. One is that I'm not sure about the quality of the management. The CEO, the main promoter, seems to be cutting his holding in a small cap stock, right? I'm qualifying the statement, cutting his holding in a small cap stock. Number two, Newgen, despite being a small company, it is facing so much backlash from the employees. So these are not good signs for me as a long-term investor. Now I will wait and watch in this stock. So what exactly is it that I'm going to keep a track? So I'm going to keep a track of the news segment of Tickertape. Now I will keep getting more useful information. I'll try to make my opinion, especially around these 2 points that I've highlighted, and then I will make a call on this. Short term, I do see this playing out well. If it goes out of the ASM list, of course, there is money to be made. So this can be a good swing trade opportunity, but I'm not interested in taking so much risk on an IT stock for swing trade. Why? Type your answers below, because I somewhat gave the answer at the start of this video. What was the answer? The answer was that as you saw from Nifty IT, that Nifty IT has been up, right? Money is still coming into the IT sector stocks as of now. At one stage, this sector rotation will happen out of the IT sector stock. And if at that stage you are caught up with a stock like Newgen, you might lose money and you might sit on a massive loss because of that. So from that reason, analyzing the risk reward equation, currently I am not investing into Newgen. Once that sector rotation happens, the money flows out of IT industry, and then at that stage, if Newgen is available at a decent price, if there are no major red flags, I might invest in this. Now let us talk about a stock in which I am actually investing. So that stock is called as Indiabull Housing Finance. It is a good stock. Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has also invested in this stock, and I am going to explain you the reason behind why I am investing. Now the second point is very, very important on this article, and I would want you to go through it. So it says that again, COVID-19 weakened the performance of the banks. All leading HFC housing finance companies witnessed a decline in their key performance ratios. Now what it is saying simply is that because of COVID-19, the housing finance market has come down. All the stocks have taken a beating, right? And this has been reflected in the stock prices also of all the housing finance stocks. Now, a couple of months back, I invested in PNB Housing Finances. I was sitting on a gain of 110%. I sold it at approximately 90% gain, and I went out of that stock, made good amount of money. Now I'm looking to enter back into the housing finance market. Why? Because overall the sector is growing. Now here is an article for you to read that depicts the growth rate of the housing finance industry, how it's likely to grow, all that basic stuff that you will anyways read. But here is the interesting part. Now this is pure common sense, and this is how people make money in the stock market. Tell me this. Now housing finance market was like this, right, before the COVID hit. Then it shrunk. Now it has become small. What is happening here is that money is flowing out of the housing finance market. Correct? Now it has shrunk. Even if it comes back to its previous form, there would have been massive growth in the stock. With me so far? This is the trick. You need to identify beaten down industries and beaten down companies in those stocks to make massive returns. So this is what I feel, that housing finance market will grow and companies like Indiabull Housing Finance will grow with it. Now let us just quickly look at the fundamentals of the stock before we talk about other points. There was a lot of commentary around the bad management of Indiabull Housing Finance, and you might ask me the question that, hey Akshat, the stock price at one point in time, as you can see from my screen, it was trading at 1219 and now it is trading at 241, and with bad management and so much bad stuff that has happened with Indiabull Housing Finance. So why are you bullish on this stock? I am bullish on this stock because right now the management churn has already happened on Indiabull Housing Finance. Okay, that's one. Second, I am a retail investor. Now I can't call the CEO of Indiabull Housing Finance and get more information out of him. Very difficult for me to do. But Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has taken a massive bet on Indiabull Housing Finance. So I am trusting his judgment in terms of analyzing the management quality, right? He would not have invested insane amount of money in Indiabull Housing Finance recently if he thought that the management has certain issues going. So at least for that parameter, I am relying on big investors like Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, who would have done his due diligence. I can only analyze the financials, balance sheet, industry overview and take a bet. But for certain items, I would not have access to that type of information. No YouTuber would, no small retail investor would. So we need to go by assessment. Now the same stuff is happening at Ujjivan Small Finance also, that the management churn has happened already, right? So wait, let it consolidate, look at the industry overview. If the industry is beaten down, go and invest in that industry if you believe in it. I believe in the housing finance industry. I believe that it will continue to grow, and companies like Indiabull Housing Finance might prove to be a massive bet. So let us do a very quick peer comparison here. So you can see that Indiabull Housing Finance is available at a PE of 8.16%, 8.16. HDFC is at 26, right? So there are a lot of good things happening with this stock. So this stock is available at a good price, right? So let us look at financials of this stock also. Now, if you take a look at the quarterly results, you will see that it's not as if that the company is running at a loss, right? It is still very much net positive company. All it needs to do is that grow with the industry. Now, as long as this company grows with the industry, the stock PE will become at least 16 to 24, which is where your money gets doubled or tripled, right? So this is what is meant by multi-bagger stock, so to say. So in housing finance company, I'm now shifting my bet from PNB Housing Finance to India Bull Housing Finance. Now again, a very small minor point regarding India Bull Housing Finance is that for the last 3 quarters, both FIIs and DIIs have increased their holding, right? Which is a good sign that these institutions are believing in this company. Therefore, I feel a little bit confident that, hey, the management issues with India Bull Housing Finance has actually been sorted. So therefore, I am a net investor in this company at this stage. Now, the third and final stock that I am going to talk about is called as IDFC First Bank. I am not going to invest in this bank as of now, and I am going to explain you the rationale also. Now, I do feel that this bank can become the next HDFC bank, but there are a lot of factors that need to align in order for this bank to become the next HDFC bank. So I am going to talk about what are the factors that I am going to consider and when next I am going to make an investment in it. But very quickly, let us look at the history of IDFC First Bank. Now, IDFC First Bank is a recently new bank. It got started on 1st October 2015. Right now, in order to increase its customer base, it is offering very attractive interest on its savings and FD, and a lot of people are switching to IDFC First. These are all general tactics. It is not as if that it is doing something truly path-breaking, but the management of a bank becomes the most important factor for it to grow. For example, you must have heard that ICICI Bank grew because of Mrs. Chanda Kochar. Now, it's a separate issue altogether that she got into all those quagmires with the bank eventually, but her leadership was very good. It allowed ICICI Bank to grow. Similarly, if you take a look at Mr. Aditya Puri, he is credited for the growth story of HDFC Bank. So essentially, if at this stage, with just 5 years of operations, 5-6 years of operation of IDFC First Bank, if you are betting on the bank, you are betting on whom? You are betting on the CEO of IDFC First Bank. So it might be useful for us to study the history of the MD and CEO of IDFC First Bank, who is Mr. V. Vaidyanathan, right? So he seems like a seasoned entrepreneur. He has held some very prominent portfolios in the past. He seems like the right type of a person to grow this bank. All that is great stuff. If you take a look at his awards and recognition, he has been given the award of CEO of the Year, Business World, all that stuff. He has been given all these various awards. So he seems very prominent, very capable person. So management seems to be okay. I don't have enough information as of now. So I'm going to keep a track of Mr. Vaidyanathan. What type of moves is he making in the market? I will keep following his interviews. I will keep assessing what he is trying to say through his interviews. And accordingly, I will reach my conclusion whether to invest in IDFC First Bank or not. Now, I am in no hurry, right? I am absolutely in zero hurry to make an investment in IDFC First Bank. Why? Because Bank Nifty is anyways moving sideways. Maybe if I buy IDFC First next year, currently it is trading at 42, next year it might be trading at 60, 70, I don't care. If it has to become HDFC Bank or something like HDFC Bank, I'll make a more informed call, right? There is just not enough data right now. I have tried to scout for a lot of articles to get information on Mr. Vaidyanathan's strategy. I could not find any standout factor, right? So that is the qualitative reason why I'm not making an investment in IDFC First Bank as of now. Now let me talk about finances. Now here is the interesting picture. Now you might see that for the last several years, the financing profit has been negative. Now this is a slightly worrisome sign. Now the reason is slightly worrisome, but first let me explain what financing profit means. So financing profit basically means that if a bank is taking on money from you and giving you, let's say 5% interest on that, right? And it picks that money and it lends it to me at, let's say 7% interest. Then how much money is the bank making? The bank is making 2%. It is paying you 5% and it is taking 7% interest from me. So the split is 2%. So that is what banks are making. Now I earlier told you that IDFC First business strategy seems to be, from what I understand, seems to be that give higher bank interest rate, that give higher savings deposit rate, give higher FD rates. That way you get more customers to IDFC First and probably they become loyal customers and then they never close their account, right? So right now they are winning some business from HDFC, ICICI, so on and so forth. So this is the core business strategy that they are following. Now I don't know if this business strategy is sustainable. And this is precisely the reason why you see this financing profit being negative. because it is paying you 6%, 7% and it is probably lending me at 8%. In between there are a bunch of different costs because of which its financing profit is turning negative. Now I would wait and watch till the time this financing profit deficit comes down. I'm not saying that it should become positive, but at least this deficit should come down. That is the point at which I will become an investor, and I'm completely okay in buying this bank at 2x or 3x the price that it currently is trading for. Just a very quick note that IDFC First is a fringe share for me. What it simply means is that I'm very close to buying this stock. I just have to wait and watch and look at certain more parameters before I finally make that buying decision. Now what I would recommend is that please go on the news section and especially try to keep a track of what Mr. Vaidyanathan is doing as the MD CEO of IDFC First Bank. Follow his interviews very closely and try to compare IDFC First financial ratios with other banking stocks ratios. That is going to be a very important piece of analysis, and do use Tickertape for it. You will be able to assimilate that information quite easily. So just to conclude, I am a definite investor in India Bulls Housing Finance, as I have shown you while taking the live trade. I am on fringe in terms of buying IDFC First Bank, and I am not going to invest in Newgen as of now. What were some of the reasons? The reasons were attributable, number one, to the sector rotation that is happening. That IT sector has already gone up. I'm not too bullish on it as of now, therefore I'm not looking to make risky bets in the IT sector. Second, I am quite bullish about the housing finance industry because it has crumpled down right now. So it will go up at some stage, and that is when investors will make money. And finally, I am quite bullish about the banking sector in general because banking sector traditionally grows with the entire economy. So I'm quite bullish about that. Now, finally, you must have observed that I have talked extensively about management of these different companies. It's very important to keep a track of management. As retail investors, we don't get too much information or insight on how the management is performing. So tomorrow I'm going to create a small case. Do let me know if you would want me to create a small case on the theme where good management exists, because technically if you identify a good company with good management, it might become a multi-bagger. So do let me know in the comment section if you would want me to do that. I would love to do that video if there is enough interest from you. So do comment and I will see you the next time.